Welcome back to our horse racing fans for another season here at Woodbine Racetrack. Elisa Blow, Jeff Bratt, the dynamic duo back at you for another 128-day season here in Toronto. 7 races on the program for you today. Jeff, lots of new faces, as Robert had pointed out, new faces in our jocks room. We've got fresh horses who haven't raced maybe since last year, and we are missing some trainers as well with all kinds of reasons, from retirement to financial difficulties, but certainly there is some excitement in the air as we get set to kick off the season.
And I was talking with Peter Gross, who does a podcast, and he was asking me what's so special about opening day, and I think it's just about hope, because nobody's lost a race yet. You're a trainer, owner, jockey, horse, bettor, you know, everything's gone relatively smoothly for you to this point of the proceedings. Now, obviously, the giant elephant in the room right now is the field size for today. It's not exactly where we want it to be. However, a couple of things have led to this. One of them being horse population in general is down everywhere in North America. But the big thing that really got us was the winter. The winter was absolutely brutal this year, and the train track was closed repeatedly, and a lot of barns had a shed row for a long, long time. So I would say for maybe like the last 3 or 4 weeks, train has kind of been picking up steam a little bit. Like today was massive. Very, very busy today. But give us a couple of weeks and we'll be back to the usual standards.
Yeah, and I would imagine too, if you were down south and you took a look at the weather up here, you thought, you know, maybe we'll stick around down here a little bit longer, because it has been, we have had probably one of the worst winters ever, especially as far as snow is concerned. You guys were probably watching. We were doing a lot of the harness racing action there, and there were times when those horses were coming back after competing in the races at Mohawk completely covered in ice. So, you know, they're a little tougher, but again, just so happy to see something green on the ground right now.
Well, that's just like the grass. There was a E.P. Taylor turf course shot that we had off camera, and it looks fantastic. Now, obviously, the backside's still under construction. But it looks really, really good, and we'll be on the inside turf course in the not too distant future as well. So everybody's kind of playing catch up right now. So right now, we're up against a little bit, but just be patient with us.
Give us a little bit of time.
And we'll be in good shape. And what about the bonus for today that we're going to touch on here in a couple of seconds? What other track comes back? And there's a pick 6 pool already with interest being added as well.
I just can't remember closing day last year, because it seems like it was so long ago, but we did not finish the program. We had horrible weather that day, and as a result, we'll have a carryover for the pick 6 that will be a mandatory payout, and that will kick off for you where we have the $100,000 guaranteed pick 5. So there's some great pools that'll be available today.
Yeah, and we're going to do some stats as well on the show, like winter racing, like how those horses have fared, what tracks have produced winners as well. But the one thing that I want this calendar thing, guys. I want to be able to put it on your fridge, Elisa, and say these are the days that you have to work, and I'll write in when you have to show up.
Thank you. So if you're going to do that, you better get one for Robert too, because you know we both kind of have the same difficulties. But yes, this is a giveaway on the second floor here today. It's a calendar, and from what I understand, it's a magnet. So it's just going to sit on your refrigerator, and there you go. Every time you go to get milk out of the fridge, you'll be reminded about post times and race days from right here in Toronto. And as Jeff had mentioned, you know, we do have that mandatory payout today, but first we want to remind you a little bit about the schedule that we have for these 128 days and the post times. Now remember, these could all change, but this is what we're looking at now. So Saturdays and Sundays, first race will go at 1:20. We won't start Friday racing until May the 8th. So we're going to kind of ease in. I was thinking about it like, you know, you get in the bathtub and it's just a bit too hot. You got to ease in to racing. So we're going to start at 1 o'clock on May the 8th with our Friday card. And then we don't start Thursdays until June the 11th. And that is when we kick into full gear with the 4 racing days right up until mid-December. Today, of course, the talk of the town and what we've really been heavily promoting is this mandatory payout for the carryover from the pick 6 from the canceled closing day. Now, we did run several races on closing day, but we had to cancel due to horrible weather, and as a result, we have that mandatory payout over $61,000. Lots of people have been sending in Power Pick 6s to take a look at. We have done a couple of them together. For those of you who are waiting for our Pick 4, it's not coming today.
Yeah, you get a day off today.
Again, we're going to ease in to that one with a jackpot Power Pick.
But you know what's like, listen, we all want great field sizes. I realize that. But for money purposes, you don't have to spend a ton of money to maybe get the pick six today because the fields are not all that big. So if you can find a couple of keys along the way, we're going to have, Lisa and I put together a deluxe ticket and a slice ticket. So one that's pricey and one that's not nearly as pricey.
Yes, exactly. Like the Goldilocks syndrome, a little too hot and a little too cold for you today. One thing that always happens notoriously though, Jeff, on opening weekend is we're going to see some kind of a bomb, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of a horse that nobody sees on paper is going to pop up with a big win on today's program. So we got to kind of sniff through some of the stats and the data on those horses to see if we can find one for you. And I think we've both kind of got some horses at prices today, not just going with chalk.
Right. And like you look who's live early on right now, you think Wesley Ward's going to have a good time, but it looks like Dale de Rousseau.
Yes.
He looks like he's pretty strong coming into the program. Looks like Mark Cassidy as well. And the one guy that's in mid-season form already is Ernie Perry. He has been busy with us as well, and he's going to give us some clocking information as he does each and every weekend day.
And last year, hey, he gave us some
good
winners at good prices. Now, here's what he said about the track this morning. He thought it was fair before the Harrow break, and then it got faster. So he's suggesting that today it should be fair with no bias. But if you played us all year last year, you know that the inside was kind of the place to be. So let's figure that could come back into play. Work of the day today. American Woman for Kevin Attard. One thing about Ernie, he has barns that he likes, and last year he picked a lot of horses from Kevin's barn that stood out for him, and this American Woman is one that he likes. Christoph Douglas, a 10-pound bug, worked this horse who galloped out in a minute.
Yeah, an American Woman was one that had success here last season, and you're going to see Chris Douglas, I think, do a lot of riding for Kevin Attard this season. Kevin likes the bug. Pietro's lost it now, and now Christoph Douglas, I think, is going to make his way into that outfit. The two-year-old to watch, yes, we have two-year-olds working already, is one by the name of Ohana Lulu. I actually saw this work this morning, and this one is going to go postward for conditioner Nathan Squires. Did not get out of the gate all that great, but caught up to a Cassie horse with relative ease. We'll see if that one's able to get those gate issues all rectified, and does have some owners that I know fairly well, and they are Mr. and Ms. Blow and Partner.
Yes, exactly. When I saw this morning, I thought, uh-oh. And it doesn't always look good when the co-host has her parents' horse up as the two-year-old work of the day, but we're trying to do something like we did last year with Awesome Connection. And once again, sent a horse down with Nathan over the winter months. This one's this one's by Aloha West out of one of our young mares, Princely Sum, and looks like we're on track.
And it's a big deal when I get out of bed early to watch a work.
That's right. And I did offer him to buy in, just so you know.
So we'll see.
So it could be and partners.
But fingers crossed. Obviously with two-year-olds, things change a lot. Yeah, and but I guess the first two-year-old race is really not all that far away, is it?
No, it's not. So I think if all signs point to yes, we'll be seeing it around mid-May. Wow. So, yep.
That's awesome.
Well, hey, people were down in Florida getting these babies ready. Cassie's going to have a
Wesley
slew of them.
Ward's won like 5 two-year-old races already.
Exactly. All righty, here we go. Back at it, Jeff. You ready?
I'm rusty, but I'm ready.
Okay, great. Well, we're not going to start with the first race on the program, but as you remember, last year we brought up this new topic board. So we're going to go through our topics as we normally do. And one of the topics, of course, is winter race horses. Yeah. We have talked about this for decades here in Toronto. Every time we have opening day, we try to figure out what racetracks are going to produce some of the key winners here at the beginning of our meet. And it's funny, you and I were talking about this with Chris Platts the other day, just saying, historically, back in the day when we had dirt, you wanted to play anything from Tampa. They were always the horses to play here in Toronto. But now that we have the synthetic surface, and there's a lot of those different surfaces down in the United States, a bulk of the horses that have been winter raced are winning from places like Gulfstream. We know we have a lot of representation down there, but Turfway is one of the tracks that really stood out last year when we were doing our handicapping, right, Jeff? We kind of got onto it, maybe first few days of the meet and started to realize, look, anything that's racing at Turfway needs to be respected when it comes here to Toronto.
So this year we're all about data on the show, and that's why we're giving you these types of boards in here. The one thing that this board does not show is winter trained horses too, and that's a bit of a thing that you got to keep an eye on too, because a lot of the Cassie horse will be in Ocala. Nathan will be down in Ocala as well. Some horses will maybe have not had a chance to race, say at Gulfstream, but they've been at Palmettos.
Yeah,
and now they're back here, right, too. So we'll keep an eye on that. Now, the stat I found a little bit interesting there was it went down in terms of the number of winter race horses that have had success over the last 3 years, but they're still around 18% in terms of win average. So that's not too shabby by any means.
No. And you know, you talk about Del DeRusso, too. I think he's in for a really good season.
He's going to have a great meet.
He is. You know, we've spoke about this, another kind of elephant in the room. Because we're missing so many trainers this season, and for a variety of different reasons, because we're missing so many of them, the stat is around 100 races that are up for grabs. So a lot of people are kind of chatting about who's going to take those spots. Well, you know, Cassie's going to take a whole bunch of them. You know, Kevin's going to take a bunch of them. But I think you really have to consider this Dale DeRusso barn as a major player. They had a great season last year. They could have Oaks and Plate horses to watch this season. McRae, likely, you know, he's always one of the barns that's high percentage. And then Gittins would be another one that you want to watch for,
Right,
too.
and we don't know where all the Drexler horses have gone, right? So, like,
did they come back?
Did they come back? Like, which ones have come back, which ones haven't, where they've gone to and stuff like that, too, because I can't remember the last time we lost our second leading trainer in the next meet, but we've lost that for whatever reasons it was. And now, you know, now some other barns are going to get a chance to win with those horses.
Absolutely. So that's one of the big things that people are going to be keeping their eye out over the next, let's say, few months of the meet as we begin to roll with this new season here. We're going to take a look first at race number 2, which is where we play this mandatory pick 6, and it's also where we kick off the $100,000 guaranteed pick 5. So the second race on the program, Jeff and I were talking about this on the phone the other day. They made it the hardest race. Really, they made it the hardest race of the card to kick off these 2 bets, because you're looking at $7,500 claimers, gals, fillies and mares. They haven't won 3 or they haven't won a race in a year. And there are some horses in here, Jeff, that really have been struggling. They struggled in their 2025 campaigns, and I don't think things are going to change for them this season. But for one of them, they have an opportunity to win. The funny part about it is we both landed on the same horse.
We did, and that is Me Tormenta. And the reason is, if you look back at Me Tormenta's lifetime stats, Formulator is fantastic for this because you can pull up a horse's PPs, right? So she won her debut in 2022. She was second in 2024 to Summer Snow, and Summer Snow was really good.
Yeah.
She's struggled now since changing barns. She was third back in 2025. She does fire well when fresh. Now, the one thing, too, that I don't mind with her is the fact that she's got some speed that I just don't really trust.
Right.
Like Summer Snow, the old Summer Snow, no problem. I would trust that horse. But since changing barns, just has not been nearly as good. That's it. That's all. I don't really think this is a 4.5 furlong horse. Victoria Elizabeth, only 2 works. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Only 2 works. And essentially, I think what happened was, Elisa, they were struggling to fill, and a lot of barns said, listen, we'll go instead of working.
That's the trick, though, for today and tomorrow.
Right.
You got to figure out which horses are fillers and which horses were actually getting ready with these races in mind. And I think that's what we've both landed on with Me Tormenta, because she has the 4 works. And also, I think, too, historically, if you look at it in the last, let's say, 3-4 years, Ross Amrata does well in the spring.
He does. Now, I can't remember the last time I saw in the condition book so many 4.5 furlong races to start the season. There are usually 5, but there's a lot of 4.5 furlong races as well.
Okay, that is topic number 1 or 2. Let's go over to the third topic, which is the new face. Well, there's a few new faces, especially here in our jocks room. Some familiar faces that are returning as well, but you know, one of the new faces who's been pretty vocal about his switch from New York to racing here in Toronto is Mirage, and so he's been riding primarily Romero down in New York.
Yeah, New York, Florida.
Yeah, you'll see him. Finger Lakes kind of guy, that sort of thing. Has a lot of wins, obviously 318 career wins from over 4,000 starts and good money, $16,000 in earnings. But when I read the article, I can't remember where it was, if it was on Pollock Report or something like that, but it said it was a no-brainer, basically, is the quote, no-brainer to come here to Toronto. Well, this is a big room, and, you know, he's going to have to be out there, you know, doing a lot of talking, meeting a lot of trainers, trying to find some horses, because remember, there's a lot of established riders in our room that ride regularly for certain outfits, and I just don't know if it's just that easy to break into this colony. So he's got a horse in this spot for Anthony Stephen, and
Do you
that
remember that
makes
name?
sense. Of course I do.
Yes.
Anthony Stephen was a rider here for a number of years. He won the Prince of Wales one year on a long shot
Did
bomb.
he really win the Prince of Wales?
He did.
Oh, wow.
It was a long shot too when he won it. I want to say it was for Lynch. And he's down in living now in Kentucky, and I just happen to keep an eye on him on his social media. He has a pretty good season. I think he's based at the Tbred Training Center, which is just in between like Paris and Lexington. So from there, he has all sorts of racetracks that he can shoot out to, and one of them is Turfway. Now he's got this 5-horse in this spot who comes in off of a win at Turfway. I'm going to respect that win.
And I think that's a good thing to do. We've got minimum 40 in here, who is a half to maximum 50, and went on debut pretty nicely. Barbara Joan, I remember telling you last season that there was a horse at Gulfstream that blew me away with how she ran, and she's never been able to duplicate that since, but I'm hoping that she's tight enough that she's going to be able to pull off a victory and beat minimum 40, but I certainly respect your horse a lot. And then you've got this Silesium, this French bred for Dale, who goes off to claim it moves up sharply in class.
Yeah, it's a good little race, race number 3 on the program. Let's flip over to the 4th race today. This is a $15,000 claimer. Non-winners of 2, traveling 5/8 of a mile with a field of 7. Is it as easy as just playing this Wesley Ward horse?
What, does the shoe thing throw you off at all?
Does the 4-year-old thing throw you off? The fact that she missed all of that 2025 campaign. The only thing is, in the spring here in Toronto, when Wesley Ward brings horses up, they generally win.
It's not so much class, they're fit.
It's the fitness
and
edge.
That's a big, and he brings horses that he knows, can beat the competition that he's going to be facing here in this day. Now, Gretna Green is the most intriguing horse to me in the race, because they claimed this horse for $25,000, ran okay, was sent down to Belmont. Things did not go well at all for Devin this winter at Belmont. But now he's back here at Woodbine. There's some gaps in the work tab. Now all of a sudden, Sky's not riding the horse here. I'm going towards Charge That Mountain off the bench. I hope the horse is tight enough. Arundel, though, is a bit of an interesting horse, because it's so funny how the game works, Elisa. Early on with their babies, you think, they got a real promising prospect on your hands, but it just hasn't materialized for this horse. We're going to go back to last December, because she had a legit excuse coming out of the gate. She stumbles pretty significantly here, but she's going to recover to win this race, and we'll get to a later portion of this event. The thing that I don't really like, though, is the fact that she didn't kind of blow them away on this day. She was 85 cents the dollar, and I kind of thought that she was all out to win on this day. But what can sometimes fool you a little bit, I find, is a break. And sometimes when horses come off layoffs, they tend to come back as better horses. And this one, from a time point of view, has been working very, very well. I didn't love this race. It never looks like the horse is going to win, but the horse does win with the gold marked silks in here. And now we're going to split in here, and eventually it's going to pull off the victory. And here we go now. And we'll be able to pull off the win, going away. Again, I just don't think she beat all that much on that day, but I'm just hoping that maybe the break did her a little bit of good.
Yeah, Sittard is often pretty treacherous right at the beginning of the season too, because he was one of the first barns into the backstretch.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of their work done, maybe ahead of some of others who might have come in a little bit later. But you can see a variety of different selections here for us in the 4th race on the program, which kicks off the pick 4. Should remind you too that of course, we had trainers down south of the border, as we normally do. But we did have some representation from of our local riders, and the big story last year at the end of the season was that Pietro was going to go down and ride at Gulfstream. And we were like, yeah, but you're going to lose your bug. I'm not worried about it, right? So he went down. He was in against some of the big players in the game down at Gulfstream and made a good account for himself. But since March the 1st, he's been in the winner's circle 10 times from 48 different starters. That's good enough for a 20% win average.
And at Turfway, he couldn't buy a win. For about a month there, it was around Christmas time, he went down there and he really, really struggled. And what I got to give him a lot of props about is he stuck with it. He said, you know what, it's not working here. And it's the same thing happened with Rafi. Rafi went to New Orleans, didn't have much luck, went to Turfway, couldn't lose a race.
Yeah, and then how about Sophia?
Yeah, Sophia, now she had a terrific winner down at the fairgrounds. She won a race yesterday down at Keelan as well. So, way to go to Pietro. And Pietro's opened so many eyes that he's won stake races for Kevin down there, and he picked up a 2-year-old ride for Wesley Ward the other day at
Yeah,
Kingman.
exactly. So, you know, a young man that we knew had a bright future, and now here he is for the 2026 season as a journeyman in Toronto. Let's go to race number 5. Fifth race on the program is a maiden special weight, going a quick 5/8 of a mile for 3-year-olds and up with a field of 6. And of course, there's going to be Cassie Power in this race. They've got the one, Smokin' Empire. This is a $200,000 purchase from the OBS sale last season. And they have the 2-horse Will Win, who's a son of War of Will, who hasn't raced since July. So was put away, you know, after a couple of races as a 2-year-old. One can only, you know, form a guess on, you know, that maybe there was a little issue. They put the horse away. Now they're bringing him back as a 3-year-old.
And in that first career start, lost Corsia Veloce, who might be champion 2-year-old filly next Thursday when the Salvador Awards are being given out. And then last time out was 4-5 when losing to your horse. That'd be an awesome connection. That was a really hot day on that day.
It was.
Really, really hot
day. The first hot day of the year, I think.
So maybe that knocked him out a little bit too. So he's now back in the mix of things. Smokin' Empire from the same family as Get Smokin'. Cassie trained that horse. The horse made over $2 million. But then you have this filly, Justine, and we don't see too many Justifies around here. And we're going to show you the replay from this one from back on November the 13th, and had an absolutely perfect trip on this day.
Right. Now, this was a horse in the care of Wesley Ward. Now has gone into the care of Dale DeRusso, and we had a chance to catch up with Dale and ask him about Justine.
Yeah, I mean, she coming out of that Churchill race, the winner has come back and done pretty well, so it's coming out of a key race, I believe. Justify, he's a very prolific synthetic sire, so we're hoping, you know, the synthetic's even better for her than the turf. I'm not saying she's not any good on the turf, but her breeze from the original 2-year-old in training sale was really well on the synthetic down there in Ocala, so, and she's trained well over it since I've got her, so.
Had a perfect trip on this day. Absolutely perfect trip back on November the 13th. Garden trip up the inside. Rail opens up. You expect the horse to win and can't hold on to win on this day. But did improve. Improved considerably based on what we saw first time out. And this one continues to be owned by the breeders. So it looks like they just made a trainer change. Now, this is a filly taking on the boys in this race. That's something to point out. But here we are right now up the inside. You could have driven Elisa's truck through the inside rail in here. That's how much room this horse had. And eventually he's going to give it up. It does get caught late. Now, this field was tough. You know, you spoke of the fact that the Churchill, you know, Turfway, Ellis Park meets. The money is so good right now that you're facing really tough company, but gives it up a little bit late. This field does not come up nearly as tough, and that's a huge, huge plus. Do you have any concern with a filly taking on the boys in a race like this?
Not this time of year, right?
Yeah.
Because it's really all about fitness more than anything else. And I think she's obviously fit from having been trained down south of the border and coming up here with a number of workouts here locally as well. I did use the 6 up in the top spot though, winter trained horse.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, because you see that first workout, it's 5/8 in 101. So you know that there was a good foundation before that.
That was one of our early baby races.
It was.
Too. That route procedure is the one that has the question mark.
That's
on
right.
That's
right. Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, and I think just a little bit of an issue with this horse as a 2-year-old had to be put away. And so it's kind of a similar story to the Will Win horse, right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of an issue, gets put away, comes back here now to get the money as a 3-year-old. Let's go to race number 6. Sixth race is actually one of the interesting handicapping races today, because in some of the other races there's like a standout horse, but in this race the first 3 horses could take it. You get Super Diva, who is lightning fast. I mean, if she can go gate to wire here today. You get Sinclarity, who should be forwardly placed for Kevin Attard, and then you get Super Sicily, who's been winter raced down at Gulfstream Park for Mike DiPaolo, who by the way had a nice winner on the program in Gulfstream. Watch for a late kick from this horse. So this race could set up nicely for a horse like Super Sicily because of the speed of Super Diva, but Super Sicily was last seen traveling at 1 mile and 70 yards.
Right, which is not her distance, and she was really rank here too. Watch the 2 here coming out of the starting gate in this spot, and watch this horse. The telestrainer still doesn't work for me, Elisa.
It's your fingerprints, buddy.
So right now we're on the inside. Now we're towards the outside, and watch the horse's head coming up right here. Like still not settling, not like just will not get into a good stride in here. And they're trying to get the horse. So now we're putting the brakes on. Now we're 3 wide. It was just a disaster of a trip. So we can get out of the replay now. It's just one of those situations where you look back at it and you say, you know what? They took a shot going around 2 turns, didn't pan out. Now they're back in a more realistic distance. And you might remember when this horse was trained by Abraham Catrine, I think it was. Used to be a really, really speedy horse, but now it seems to be happier selling from off the pace. I like Sinclarity. The speed, though, is your horse, this being Super Diva. Now, here's the question I ask you, because I was tossing this when I was doing my handicapping. She did great against 2-year-olds.
Right.
But now we're facing older horses. Is that a problem, or the fact that she's so fast this time of the year, does that, from a teeter-totter point of view,
but that's it. You're 100% right, though,
Yeah.
Jeff. You know, the positive side, she's super fast, and this race is only going to be a quick 5/8 of a mile. It's like right up her alley. So how tempting was that for Chirkup?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you're like, yeah, she's 3, and these older gals that are 5 and 6, you know, have some experience on their side. I think it just it's a jock's race, right?
Yep.
It depends how it unfolds out of the gate as well, but we know that Super Diva's fast. And on a couple of times last year as a 2-year-old, when we interviewed Steve Chirkup in the Winner's Circle, say after stakes events, and remember the times kept flashing up really, really quick, and he said, yeah, I saw the half and thought, I don't know if we're gonna keep on going. And then she kept on going.
Yeah.
So the distance is right up her alley.
Absolutely. And you know what? A lot of people might say, oh, the rail. The rail has turned out to be fantastic.
Yeah, we're not talking about Mohawk
It's
anymore.
not the way it used to be here at Woodbine, where you go 4.5 furlongs and get the rail, and you'd be just like, oh no, we're toast.
Yeah,
It's been pretty good as of late.
It normally is the livest, livest lane. Alrighty, let's go to our next topic, which is race number 7. That being the final race on the program, where we play the jackpot high 5 with a field of 7. Put Romeo Mirage on the 7. Lots of weight changes for you here in this event. Maiden optional 40. And I think we've all landed on the same first time start. See, I can see Bill Theranis, basically, who's down in Florida over the winter months, and you and I know him really well. A lot of people around here know him really well. Great talker, great salesman, okay? I can see a guy like Louis Reyes walking into his barn and him and Bill saying, hey kid, want to ride a winner on opening day? I can see that, can't you? And I just think this horse, Frankness, is the horse to beat.
Well, we're going to catch up with Mr. Reyes, and you're onto something, because I said to him, were you working this horse down in Florida? He said yes, a couple of times. So he does know the horse very, very well, and the horse has been working quickly. This is half to Ultimate Destiny, who was a really good horse, made over $750,000, $880 to be exact. And this is from the same family as a multiple great stakes place horse named Dolce Sorpresa. I like the fact they didn't race the horse at Gulfstream. Save the horse for here. Ease your company. You're gonna be you're a reload in here, so you fit into this category perfectly. So that's fantastic. And then you have Mr. Perfect, who doesn't have to improve a ton. And the Tiller barn was one of the busiest barns right from day one here at Woodbine when training opened up. And this horse might be fully cranked.
All right, so we will keep our eye out on this first-time starter in race number 7, as it's time, Jeff, to take our first commercial break of 2026. So we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at Clocker Horses Plays of the Day, and we'll have Robert Geller join us as well.
Love horse racing? HPIBet.com is Canada's leader in online horse betting. Access thousands of live races from hundreds of tracks worldwide instantly. Enjoy the most advanced betting tools like AI Smart Picks and exclusive cashback rewards you won't get anywhere else. Join today and get up to $100 in free bets. Get the ultimate horse betting experience with HPIBet.com.
And as mentioned, our clocker, Ernie Perry, is back for another 2026 year, or another season, I should say, with his clocker report. You can follow it, too, at Woodbine Clocker. But he's got 2 horses to pass along for today, the one being Super Diva. We're going to see this horse from the Steve Chirkup barn, and, of course, the other one being Frankness. And we talked about this horse, who will have his first lifetime start in the finale.
Not a bad late double.
No,
that's not a bad late double by any means. If you like that selection in there. My plays of the day, my price play is going to be Me Tormenta. I don't know how big of a price we're going to get, but the barn never gets bet. She never really gets bet either. Off the bench play is going to be Barbara Joan. My best bet is Sinclarity, and my first one to watch is Frankness, coming up in race number 7.
We have a few similarities. Now, I say Haley's Honor wins the first race of the season. When you see the groom, they're ready to get their picture taken. I don't mind this this horse in the 4th race as a multi-leg key. I like Delta Force as a value play, and Frankness is my first-time starter in the last race on the program as well. Okay, Shall we bring in Robert? Oh, we can, right after we get Doug's selection, which is Sinclarity, and Ron Gearkink, who has gone to Frankness. So we've all kind of gone towards Frankness here in the on the opening day program. Robert is back for another year. I trust you had a good winter, Robert. You were probably somewhere nice and warm. He's got Will Win as his top selection, and Chrome Plated Heart, who I know, Robert, you were hoping you would get at a price, but I don't think that's going to be the case with this one today, unfortunately. But Robert, great to have you back.
Likewise, great to see you. And I do think you never know with the betting. It's a bit of a mystery because there's so many betting moves we'll have to be watching for throughout the day in short fields. But yeah, I think you're right. Chrome Plated Heart may get play, but I did like Will Win. I thought that the fact that Corso Veloce was so impressive. Will Win was second and has blinkers on. Nice works. I think an excuse on the turf. I like the Mark Casse runner there. I think it's a very good field. Even though we've got short fields, we've got some nice horses. And I think Chrome Plated Heart, such a trier. She is really honest, and she's chased some very good horses. Luz de la Luna, Allowance Level, some pretty fast fractions, and she kicks on. So hopefully she'll do well for Deborah Rhombus. I hope to get maybe 4-5 to 1, but it's not looking likely.
I know, like we were talking about that earlier on. There's always that one bomb on opening day, whether it be today or tomorrow, and you want to kind of be the person who gets it. But I don't know how many, I don't know, Robert. Like, it seems pretty chalky, at least, with the selection. So glad you were able to pass that along at a bit of a price. Now, that leads us into this pick six and our tickets for you today. Robert, you passed along a ticket. Great price, $19.20. Take us through it.
I thought the first leg was the toughest. If I can get through the first leg, I'll be very happy because I just feel that they're patchy form lines for summer snow, but it has a lot of speed. I like Victoria Elizabeth, I think is a value play. And I also gave it a good chance too with the morning line favorite, That's It, That's All. So I put those three in. Third race, I did love the Win by Minimum 40. I thought that was a very impressive debut and I think can be hard to beat here. Barbara Joan, as you have Jeff as your top pick, definitely looks very dangerous. So I put the top two on the list in, and then I went to race 4 with my pickers. Charge That Mountain, Tino Attard. I thought that was a horse that was impressive as well in the very short career. Irondell interests me because Irondell's works are fantastic and just a type of horse that needs this vigorous ride, and we saw that on the replay. As far as race 5, I do respect Smoke and Empire. Mark Casse has the inside gates. I think we'll win. Hopefully we'll win, but if not, Smoke and Empire would not surprise me. And it gives you a bit of value because Justine will be very short price, I think. But you never know. We'll see how the pan of the betting market goes. In the 6th race, I love the way Super Diva's work tab looks, but I'm actually leading to Chrome Plated Heart, and they're my top two. In the last race of the day, I wanted to get a bit of value because I think there'll be a lot of money on Mr. Perfect, and I think there'll be a lot of money on Frankness. So I'm going to go with number 1, Up in the Ante for Devin Gittensbarn. There's a very nice work back with the second fastest of the morning some time ago. And the 4, Elgin Park, who's the stablemate for William Theranos. I quite like the performances of Elgin Park, and I just have a feeling that we could get a little bit of a price play in the last race.
Okay, so there you go, not using Frankness. Very, very brave. Okay, let's see what we've got. So we, as we mentioned, have a deluxe ticket and a cheap ticket for you. So here's our deluxe ticket where we spent some money, 36 bucks. We used the 5 and the 7 in race number 2. And really, you know, that is, as Robert pointed out, the tough race to get through.
Is it ever? And then we're pressing the Allburger button, race number 3. Our chips on both tickets are all in on this Frankness coming up in the last race of the day. And if that ticket's a little bit too pricey for you, I never thought in my wildest dreams that we played a pick 16 Me Tormenta.
I know.
But we had to do it from a cost point of view. So there you go, $9.60 to cut it down a little bit if that ticket's a little bit too pricey. All
right, there you go. Okay, so those are our pick 6. Robert, have a great day today. You know, I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. Hopefully, if the rain stays away. How's that tennis elbow feeling?
No tennis. No tennis. I only watch it. I don't play it.
When the weather's going to get crummy, you get the tennis elbow. It acts up.
I didn't know that.
Oh, all right. Okay. I'm just making things up now, I guess.
I might have other things, but not tennis elbow.
All righty. Have a great day, Robert. Okay.
I have heard him say that.
I have heard him say that myself. Okay. Hate to wrap things up on a sad note, but unfortunately, we do have some sad news to pass along.
Yeah, Doug Anderson has passed away, and Doug was the chief steward of the Jockey Club of Canada. Wonderful gentleman, and we just want to pass along our condolences to Rita and his kids and his grandkids as well. Doug was going to, and is still going to be, presented with a special sovereign award for all the contributions he has made to racing, and they are several. He is a well-traveled individual. I loved hearing his stories about his travels to Europe and watching the horses there. He was one of the owners of the great Millie Girl, who has since retired and become a great broodmare as well. And, I mean, you just look at Doug's resume. Obviously, you know, a guy that was involved with the CTHS. He was a breeder, racing fan, owner as well. And then, as we said, the chief steward of the Jockey Club of Canada. So from all of us here at the Woodbine Entertainment Group, we just want to pass along our condolences because the racing community has lost a very, very good one. So to Rita and to the kids, we're thinking of you. The passing of Doug Anderson, we will not forget him.